It's a foggy Saturday morning in Central Florida on December 11th. Today I got up bright and early to catch U.S. Sugar's second annual Toys for Tots Santa train, led by U.S. Sugar's steam locomotive number 148. I first headed over to Clewiston to catch the train departing the North End shops, but when I got there at around 7 a.m. the train had already left, so I decided to head over to Miami Canal Road in Lake Harbor. There, I heard a K5LA horn in the distance and saw a headlight through the thick fog. The Santa train was being towed in reverse by one of U.S. Sugar's newest locomotives, USSC number 409, an EMD GP38-2 locomotive. After the train had passed, I headed over to the US 27 crossing at South Bay. There I caught an eastbound empty cane job led by USSC number 502, an EMD GP40-2 locomotive with a classic Leslie RS3L horn. The cane job cleared South Bay at around 7:45 a.m., and the Santa train followed a couple of minutes after. By now the train was running a few minutes behind schedule. With no time to waste, the train stopped at Northwest Avenue L, and the switch for the display track was thrown. Finally, at around 8 a.m., number 148 pulled the Santa train into the display track on Osceola Street at its first stop of the day in Belle, Glade, Florida, with a bit of wheel slip. Belle Glade is a town in northwest Palm Beach County near Lake Okeechobee. U.S. Sugar's common carrier line, South Central Florida Express, runs through here on the former Florida East Coast K branch, leased from the FEC since the late 1990s. After stopping for a minute, the train pulled further forward into the spur track before unloading gifts. U.S. Sugar number 148 is an Alco-built 141 class 462 Pacific type steam locomotive, built in 1920 for the Florida East Coast Railway. This engine has quite a history. On the FEC, the 148 was used in passenger and fast freight service, even venturing onto the famous overseas railway into Key West. After serving on the FEC, the 148 was purchased by the U.S. Sugar Railroad in 1952, where it pulled cane trains around Clewiston, Florida. In the 1970s, the locomotive was sold to a third party based in New Jersey and ran several excursion trips there before being sidelined due to boiler issues. The locomotive was subsequently sold to several different owners but remained in disrepair. In 2016, U.S. Sugar reacquired the locomotive and began a thorough restoration, completed in early 2020. Since then, the engine has ran at several public events for U.S. Sugar. The locomotive is also equipped with a former Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy 5-chime whistle. It's always a special occasion when this engine runs. The train consists of Sugar Express boxcar number 1225 and a former Pennsylvania Railroad lounge car, now a dining car called Palmdale. Our next car is Sugar Express's Miami Locks, a former Amtrak baggage car now used as an open-air car for Sugar Express's excursions. The Georgia 300 is a private heavyweight observation car built in 1930, used as an office car on the Georgia Railroad. This car was used on various presidential tours and also the first Sugar Express Santa train the previous year. For this event, U.S. Sugar partnered with Toys for Tots, an organization dedicated to donating gifts to children of underserved communities. Today, the Sugar Express Santa train would deliver gifts to children in Belle Glade, Clewiston, Moorhaven, and Lake Placid. During the stop, Santa and Mrs. Claus stepped out to help deliver gifts, interact with children, and even sing songs to them.
Really appreciate everybody coming out. Let's get another big hand for the U.S. Marines! And let's thank U.S. Sugar for putting together the Sugar Express Santa train today. Let's hear it! It's all well coordinated. And again, that's done by U.S. Marines. Okay, what's the Christmas song we're going to sing? How about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Everybody know that one? Okay. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say hello. All of the other reindeer used to let them call him. They never let Rudolph join in any Christmas. Then one morning Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Belle the reindeer loves me. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, he'll go down in history. All right, thank you guys. Got a very important question for you guys today. Now, has everybody sent in your letters to me about what you want for Christmas? Did anybody warn you that there's a test today? I'm going to ask every one of you guys, what are you going to do for your parents and grandparents? No, who's cleaning their room? I'm going to tell you the truth. All right. You know, as a present, you guys can give. You can give it year-round, anytime, any day, and it doesn't cost us anything. And parents and grandparents love it. How many parents and grandparents love it?
After Santa boarded the train was getting ready to depart, but first the crew had to correct an issue with the electronics in the cab. With the problem solved, the train began pulling out of the spur track just before 9 a.m. As the train was reversing, I drove to West Lake Road to catch it pulling forward. We will now follow this train to various locations between Belle, Glade, and Clewiston, Florida. Our next stop for the day was the town of Clewiston, Florida, located in Hendry County south of Lake Okeechobee. Known as America's sweetest town, Clewiston is known for its vast sugar industry, with U.S. Sugar producing much of the country's sugar supply. Much of the sugar cane cultivated in the fields is transported by rail to Clewiston Sugar Mill, just south of this location. Today, the Santa train stopped behind the North End shops, and the engine would take on oil and water while gifts were distributed. Another fact about the 148 is that the engine burns recycled vegetable oil used in various restaurants. This is environmentally friendly, and when the locomotive passes, you can smell the French fries in the air. There was a good turnout today in Clewiston. Before the Santa train left, a loaded cane train headed for the mill appeared. This train was led by USSC number 504, an EMD GP40-2 locomotive. At around 11 a.m., the Santa train began backing out of the display track in Clewiston. Let's now follow this train from Clewiston to Moorhaven, Florida. Our next stop for the day is Moore Haven, Florida, located in Glades County, southwest of Lake Okeechobee. Before the Santa train could make the stop, it had to wait for the swing bridge over the Caloosahatchee Canal to close. The Caloosahatchee Canal links Lake Okeechobee to the Gulf of Mexico. After the bridge had closed, Santa Claus took some time out of his busy schedule to help guide the train across the bridge toward the display site.
All right, we'll keep going. Stop it up.
The train arrived at the display site right on time at 12 noon, and drones were flying around capturing the train at all angles. During the stop, I took the opportunity to refuel my car and adjust the tripod in the back seat as I'd be taking some pacing shots for the next leg of the journey. The train left Moore Haven at around 12:45 p.m. We will now follow this train to locations between here and Lake Placid, Florida. We will also be pacing this train through Palmdale, Venus, Archbold, and Childs. So sit back and enjoy the sights and sounds of U.S. Sugar number 148. At around 2:15 p.m., the Santa train made its triumphant arrival at the final stop of the day in Lake Placid, a town in Highlands County, Florida. Today, the train stopped at the Lake Placid Historical Society Museum, a former Atlantic Coastline Railroad depot built in 1927. In addition to an old caboose in the parking lot, the inside of the museum contained various historical railroad artifacts, photos, and exhibits. The museum would also be the northernmost terminus of the Sugar Express's very first public excursion, the Lake Placid Limited, which would run the next day.
You guys just walk around and give that to any kid that wants one. Giveaways. Any kid that wants one. Here you go. Oh, yeah.
As Santa Claus and his elves worked tirelessly to deliver gifts, the 148 unhooked from the train and reversed toward the crossing, where it would take on more water. As the 148 was taking on water, and after viewing some of the historical artifacts, I took the opportunity to grab some lunch. When I got back, I arrived just in time to see the 148 pull forward and recouple to the train. Finally, after the 148 coupled to the train and Santa had delivered his last gifts, the Santa train began its return trip home to Clewiston with the diesel engine USSC number 409 leading the way. Not quite as exciting as steam, but I'll take it. Now let's follow the Santa train on its return trip to Clewiston. The sun had just begun to set on this perfect day, and the Santa train had returned to Clewiston after 5:30 p.m. Here, the 148 would decouple from the train and prepare for the next day. Santa also hopped back in his sleigh and headed back to the North Pole for the busy Christmas season. I'd like to give a special shout out to US Sugar, the folks at the Sugar Express, FMW Solutions, and Toys for Tots, and the Lake Placid Historical Society for making this event possible. I'd also like to thank Santa and Mrs. Claus and the elves for coming out here today to bring joy to children across Central Florida. I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. This is Casual Rail Fan, out.